Hey guys, UDT here with another Unreal Engine 4 Basics tutorial. In today's tutorial, I'm going to introduce you to Unreal Engine 4's user interface. I'll show you how the basics of the UI system in Unreal Engine 4 work, as well as how to display it. To do so, we'll be creating a basic crosshair, which will just be a simple little red crosshair, nothing too fancy. It'll be static as well, so there won't be any indication of recoil. Before we get started, there is a free download link for the image I'll be using for the crosshair down below, so make sure to go download it. Also, if you haven't already seen my first person character, which is the basic character we'll be using throughout this series, make sure to go check out that video. It's super simple. Anyway, we're going to begin now. So the first thing you're going to have to do is come down into whichever folder you prefer to use. I'm just using my basic blueprints one that comes with the third person one. So you can just go content, third person, blueprint, and then this is where I have everything. Now, I'm going to come down to user interface here. To get to here, you just right click user interface and then widget blueprint. I'm going to call this UI underscore crosshair. You can call it whatever you want. I prefer to name things with UI at the start, or if it's a blueprint BP. That way when you're searching for things later on when you get into blueprint coding, it's a lot simpler to be able to find what it is that you're looking for. Anyway, the first thing you're going to see when you come here is a lot of different information all at once. If you haven't seen this before, it might be a bit confusing. On the side here, we have all of our elements that we have currently. So at the moment, all there is just a canvas panel, which just outlines the size that you will see. So this is the maximum width and height the player will see on their screen. And then over here, we just have a basic things here. So we've got border, we've got a button, we've got checkbox, you've got images, name slots, heaps of different things. And lots of different combinations of things you can use below here. There's heaps of things. Now, this will be very overwhelming at first. I won't be going into depth on a lot of the things here. All we're going to be using today is just a simple image. So you just come up here, select the image under common, and then drag it onto your canvas panel. Make sure when you drag it, you hover over it before you release it so that you get this little arrow that pops up. Now, the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need a center, because a crosshair that isn't centered to the screen is not going to be useful. So we're going to come over to anchors and select this one, so it sets it to the dead center. You'll notice our little square is still up here. So you're going to come over here and you're going to hit the little reset default arrows, which will just set it to 0, 0. And now we're going to need to import our image. So the first thing you're going to have to do is go back to your main screen here. And then go find wherever it is that you have that crosshair that I have in the download link below, save to, and then just simply select it and drag it in. Now, when we come back here, you might not have this already open. If you don't, it's just under appearance and then brush. So all you gotta do is select the little pop down tab here, and then find it. Now, I haven't got too many things here. If you don't have it, you can just use the search bar here and then search for whatever you named it, and then you just select it. Now you'll notice at first this is a bit stretched out, it's not very well shaped, so make sure you press size to content. I will fix it and put it back to the actual size that it's meant to be, which by default is set to 200 by 200. Now that is much bigger than you want for a crosshair. I don't know about you, but that is very big for my liking at least. So I'm just going to reset that back to 0, 0, and then we're going to set this to 64 by 64. Now you may have noticed there that when I was typing in the things here, I didn't select a different box. Once you've selected one, if you just want to go to the box to the right of it, you can press tab and it will automatically move you over there. And you may notice as well that now it is no longer aligned. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to alignment. We're just going to align it to 0.5 and then 0.5 on both of them, and it will center it perfectly in the center of your screen. So now I've got our basic crosshair. If you want to make this bigger, you can, or if you want to use a different image, you can. It's all up to you. But as far as the UI goes, this is all we have to do. The rest of it now is just some very simple blueprints. Yeah, so now we're going to come over here. There's a couple different ways you can make your UI crosshair show up. For this situation, we're just going to do it in a very simple way that I'm sure you'll end up using in the future because it's the most common way as well. So we're going to come to our third person character, which I already have open. And then we are going to make a function. Now you could have this show up here, but just to keep everything clean, I'm going to put it in a function. So we're going to call this create. We'll call it create UI. You can call this whatever you want, it really doesn't matter. Now from this little thing here, we're going to click on it and drag it out. And we're going to do create. I've forgotten what it's called. Create widget, that's what it is. Sorry about that. Had a little mind blank there for a second. And then you're gonna select class, and then UI crosshair, or whatever it is you called it. And then from return value, you're gonna drag that out, and you're gonna go add to a viewport. Now, if you're doing multiplayer, you'd have to do player screen. But since this is just a basic tutorial, we're keeping it single player, so we'll do add to viewport. Now that's all you have to do for this section. You don't have to worry about anything else, but now you'll notice that if we come in here and press play, it's not showing up. And that is because we made it a function. It's not actually being called by the event graph. So now we're going to come back up here to the top to the event graph. And then we're going to add a begin play. And event begin play. Here we go. Now, if you already have an event begin player, you'll have to drag off of it. You can use a sequence if you want, and then drag from this little thing here into the sequence, and then drag from one of the exit pins from the sequence to something else. But we don't have that yet, so we don't need to do that or worry about it. But we are simply going to go from here, and then we're going to call upon our function, which we called create UI. Now that we've called upon that function, we just go compile and save. Now you'll see that our crosshair is working. Now this is just a simple little crosshair. I don't have a gun in the game, but I just thought I'd show you guys the basics of the UI. This is a very simple thing. There are a lot of cool things you could do with the UI, and I'd recommend looking into it, at least messing around with just a little thing. Maybe make like a basic HUD overlay so you have like your health bar on the bottom, just so you can kind of figure out how it works and get a feel for it. Because you will end up using this a lot when it comes time to doing UIs, and it is extremely useful. Anyway guys, that is the end of this little tutorial. I hope to see you in the next one. Remember, if you have any issues with this video or things you want to see in the future, let me know down below in the comments, and I'll be sure to help you out and get onto it as soon as possible. Anyway guys, see ya.